In this lesson, we'll create a facial control system to drive our facial target. Let's get started by creating a new control object, something that's not in our repository, because it really doesn't need to be. We'll make a circle shape. And that way, it will kind of stand out from the other controls, making it a lot easier to find and select. So we'll choose Create Shapes. We'll go ahead and grab our circle. Let's go ahead and move over to our front view. Alright, so create a quick circle. We'll move back to our perspective view. Let's hide our model and show the skeleton. Now with our circle still selected, we'll use Shift-A to quick align it to the head's nub. Now let's go ahead and bring back our model and start lifting up this object. We'll also start bringing down its radius. We can go to the Modify panel to do that. Great. From here, we can have it stored in our controls layer. We could also have it renamed. That's going to be anim_face01. Let's also make sure to reset it. Collapse it down. We can now have it linked. We know it should be linked to the upper jaw. So let's go ahead and find our link tool. Take care of that. Now we'll go ahead and freeze its transforms. We'll make sure that this will not be able to move. That will be handled in the next lesson when we go ahead and lock down our controls, as we've done before. But one step at a time. It's now time to add our attribute holder and a few custom parameters. So, attribute holder first. We'll go ahead and right click and choose Rename. This will be renamed to Extra Controls. Alright, we'll now go ahead and press Alt-1, and we'll create our first parameter, and this will control the smirk, so let's go ahead and call it smirk. Nice and simple. Alright, we'll now go ahead and create the next, and we'll name that sneer. Okay, so we know that it's now time to wire parameters. So with our control selected, we'll right click and choose Wire Parameters. That's going to be Modified Object, Extra Controls, Custom Attributes. Here's the smirk. Let's go ahead and select the face. That will be Modified Object, Modified Object. Here's the Morpher modifier. And we'll now go ahead and grab the smirk. Okay, let's go ahead and do a direct tie-in using the lower arrow. Choose Connect. And now we can grab the sneer and find the sneer target, and again do a direct connect. And you can see why it's very important to use a solid naming convention so we can find our channels and our parameters much faster. So we know smirk gets tied into smirk because we've taken the time to find a good naming convention we can use for these target objects. Alright, let's go ahead and test this out. So we should be able to start using our channels. There's our smirk. Looks nice. How about the sneer? Alright, cool stuff. So we should be really happy with what we have. And remember, since we have our targets around, we could always go in and start adding some modifications to the shapes that we'd like to tweak. So for example, with the smirk, I'd almost like to pull up the nostril a bit more. So we can do that easily. Grab one of our points. We'll start to just lift the nostril up using soft selection. There we go. So now, if we were to go in and start to control that smirk again, we'll notice that the nostril shifts. Very nice. Alright, great stuff. So, to do a bit of cleanup work in this scene, I'd like to just go ahead and recolor this object to stay consistent with the other controls. Being that it's in the center, we'll go ahead and work with that shade of yellow we've been using. Alright, that was simple enough. So we'll go ahead and stop the lesson here. In the next lesson, we'll go ahead and do our cleanup work. We'll make sure to lock our controls. We'll also make sure to hide any layers that shouldn't be visible, things like that. And then following that, we'll get into your assignment for level 4.